Hey, my name is Elsie. I used to be one of the greatest musicians of all time. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. If you do, you'll excel at your hardest subject. Growing up in a small town in Nebraska without siblings was super boring and lonely. I didn't like playing with toys by myself, so my parents would send me outside no matter how much I complained. There's nothing to do outside.
You could ride your bike.
But they wouldn't let me go anywhere since I was only 8, so I would ride in circles around the driveway. School wasn't much better. I'd fall asleep in class, and all the kids were boring too, except for my best friend Gina. You want to help me with my science project? Sure. We made a volcano that blew up at the science fair, and a robot that went insane and tried to kick the teacher. The glitches may have been my fault, but Gina was always positive. It's okay. We all make mistakes. It's how we get better. Even Gina's life was more fun than mine. At least her parents took her on fun vacations. In high school, I realized that my life was lame because I wasn't special. I was an ordinary girl with ordinary parents and ordinary grades, and I just blended into the background, unlike a mean witch named Ashley. Look at her, she's so amazing!
Wow, she's beautiful and talented.
Ashley always got the leads in the school plays. She was head cheerleader, the student body president, and my worst enemy. It all started when I accidentally spilled some grape juice outside her dressing room on the night of the school play, and Ashley slipped and sprained her ankle. It was an accident, I swear. No one believed me because I was Ashley's understudy and ended up taking her place even though I wasn't very good. From then on, Ashley made my life miserable. She barred my entry into all the clubs and convinced the cheerleading coach not to let me try out too. How was I supposed to find a talent that made me stand out? Then one day in 10th grade, I was watching videos on my computer when I came across a girl playing the violin, and I was mesmerized. The video had a gazillion likes. She had sponsorships and a dozen fan pages, and she traveled all over the world playing to sold-out auditoriums. I knew right then that I wanted to be just like her. I begged Mom to sign me up for violin lessons. But they must have given me a broken violin because when I tried it, nothing but these awful screeches would come out of the stupid thing. Screech, squeak, screech, squeak. But my newfound love of music could not be ignored or abandoned. I just needed to find the right instrument. Next, I tried a guitar. Then I quit because the strings hurt my fingers. Singing seemed fun and easy, so I sang all the time. In the shower, at the breakfast table, on road trips, during my parents' important phone calls, late at night, until they finally screamed, "No more singing!" They should have said something sooner. It hurt my throat more than it hurt their ears. Finally, the piano. And the teacher was my own grandmother. She could play music better than the violin girl, and even taught me some easy songs. I was so excited, I invited Gina over to hear me play. That's really cool. You're so talented. Did I become a great musician right then? I wish. Is that the only song you know? Can't you play something else? Somehow, months passed and I could only play the same lame pieces. I hated practicing. It was tough and frustrating, and it took forever. Slowly, I kinda gave up on my dream of becoming some musical genius. It just seemed too far out of my reach. But then something happened in 11th grade that changed my life forever. I don't remember much after my parents dropped me off at the fair. One minute I was walking past the petting zoo and sending Gina a text, then suddenly I heard a loud shriek. Eehaw! Then an angry donkey kicked me in the head and sent me flying into the side of a circus tent. I woke up in the hospital. My ears were ringing. Strange sounds and colors were going through my head. It's like I was seeing music? The doctor said I was fine and released me from the hospital, but on the way back home, I begged my parents to stop at Grandma's house. Oh dear, what happened? I ran to Grandma's piano, sat down, and started to play, and I was amazing! I could play any piece of music with perfect ease. I could even make up new music on the fly. It was all so clear and effortless. My goodness, where has she been practicing? Why, she sounds even better than me on my best day. Grandma entered me into a local piano competition, and I blew everyone's mind. I won first prize. People ran up to me to get my autograph, and I was even on the news. Ashley was so jealous. An agent came to my house and asked my parents if he could represent me. And soon, I was playing gigs in so many cities. I was so busy, I missed Gina's birthday. So sorry, my schedule's been packed. I'm a superstar, you know. Oops, that's my agent. I'll call you back later, okay? Many successful concerts later, I was ready for a break. Zach, the most popular boy in school that I'd been crushing on since the 6th grade, invited everyone in class to his pool party. And I was so there. And I asked Gina if she wanted to tag along. We were supposed to go to the Science Museum today, remember? The Science Museum is boring. Can't we go another day? But today's the last day to see the electron microscope lab. I convinced Gina to skip the lame science exhibit and join me. Sitting on deck chairs, I shared my adventure with all the popular kids. My life definitely wasn't boring anymore, but Gina didn't seem impressed. In fact, her bad attitude was messing up the vibe. We should have gone to the Science Museum. I'd rather watch paint dry than see Ashley and her friends prance around in bathing suits. It's a pool party. You're supposed to wear a bathing suit. There's no one even in the pool. This is such a stupid waste of time. Gina, that's rude. Why are you trying to spoil things for me? I can't believe you're being so selfish. I'm selfish? First, you forget my birthday, and then you make me miss the exhibit for this ridiculous party so you can impress all these kids that you don't even know. You've changed, and I don't like it. I haven't changed. You're just jealous. It's okay. Everyone can't be as awesome as I am. Well, you can be awesome by yourself. I'm leaving. I didn't like falling out with Gina, but it seemed like she just couldn't be happy for me. I was a shining star. I was living my best life. Maybe I just needed new friends to match. Then, Zach was suddenly standing right next to me.
Hey, aren't you that girl who's so good at piano that she's already on tour?
Something like that.
That's so cool. And you're playing in the talent show next week, right?
Yeah. I hadn't heard about it, but it sounded like kiddie stuff compared to what I'd been doing.
Sweet. I can't wait to hear you play. See you around, Elsie.
Zach walked away, and all the girls couldn't stop drooling over his perfectly sculpted muscles. I got up off my towel and dove into the pool, but it must have been the shallow end because the next thing I knew, I woke up back on my deck chair looking into Zach's handsome face.
She's awake. Elsie, are you okay?
Ow, my head. I think I hit my head.
On the bottom, yeah. You should have a doctor check.
I'll be fine. But I wasn't fine. After I passed out face first into my soup at the dinner table that night, my parents took me to see the doctor. He said I had a concussion and had to stay home for a week. I agreed, but only for 1 week. There was no way I was going to miss that talent show if Zach was expecting me to be there. I was backstage when the day finally arrived, awaiting my turn to perform. I should have been excited, but something was wrong. Something felt different inside my head. I couldn't see the music anymore. My heart pounded as I walked on stage, feeling dizzy with panic. I sat down at the piano, but it didn't have that comfortable, familiar feel.
Yeah, Elsie.
The auditorium fell silent. By the time I touched the keys, my hands were shaking. I started to play, and I was horrible. Every note was off key, and the melody was all wrong. Zach and his parents covered their ears, a baby started crying, and a few dogs ran up to the windows and howled. Then everyone laughed. I jumped up and ran out, crying. It was over. Whatever gifts the mule had given me disappeared when I'd struck my head on the bottom of the pool. It was so unfair. I had everything I'd wanted, only to have it taken away at the worst possible time. Gina called me a few times and sent text messages to see if I was okay, but I didn't answer. I was so ashamed. I had no idea how to explain my story, and I had no desire to show my face at school. That winter, Grandma sold her house and everything she owned when she moved into a nursing home. But the one thing she insisted on keeping in the family was her old piano. When it was delivered to our house, I hated looking at it. It just reminded me of everything I'd lost. One day, I was sitting on the porch when Gina came up to me. "Are you okay?" "No, my life is over. I'll never play piano again. A boring life forever, and I was a jerk to my best friend." "Well, you were a real jerk to me, but the rest of the stuff just isn't true. There's no reason you can't play piano again. Maybe you just need to practice." Over the next few days, I couldn't get Gina's words out of my head. Maybe you just need to practice. I remembered that Grandma had told me the same thing. So I pulled out my old music books and sat at the piano and gave it a try. And it turns out, practicing isn't so bad. In fact, it wasn't long before I realized it becomes easier as you go. Plus, with Grandma teaching me over video chat, I actually understood what I was doing and why. I continued taking lessons from Grandma through the rest of high school. Gina and I started hanging out again. I even saved up my allowance to get us tickets to travel to the electron microscope lab that was 2 states away. Gina was right all along. My life wasn't over, it was just different. Now, you might be wondering, whatever happened to Zach? At first, I thought he was avoiding me after the talent show disaster, but then come to find out, he'd left town, and no one really knew why. I eventually stopped asking about Zach. I was too busy with school and piano for boys anyway. By the 12th grade, I was finally ready to play piano in front of an audience. You should enter the talent show. I don't know. Come on, you can do it. I think you could even win. Gina kept insisting, so I decided to sign up. The line was huge. Ashley and the other cheerleaders were in front of me. If we do the same routine from regionals, we'll blow the roof off this place. And that trophy is ours. I edged my way through the group, wrote my name at the bottom of the list, and the word piano beside it. Since when do you have talent, Elsie? Since I started practicing music. Then why do I seem to remember your spectacular failure last year? Didn't that bump on the head, turn you stupid or whatever? No, look at the dummy. She can't even speak. Get ready to lose, loser. You don't stand a chance against us. I stayed up all night practicing. On the night of the competition, I waited backstage for my turn. The moment Ashley and the cheerleaders took the stage, they were incredible. Even though I would play Beethoven, my little piano piece didn't stand a chance. And right before my performance, the power went out. Great! I took a deep breath and stepped on stage. Cell phone flashlights and displays blinked on throughout the audience like a brilliant star field. I sat at the piano. There was just enough light to see the keys. I played the famous Beethoven piece to oohs and ahs and a standing ovation that led to winning the talent competition. I'd done it, not from a freak accident, but for real. Oh, and there was even a nice bonus. I ran into Zach in the lobby afterward.
You were amazing.
Thanks, but where have you been all this time?
China, IT program. I wanted to keep in touch, but everything happened so fast and it was my only chance. I couldn't even look you up on social media because the government restrictions kept me totally off grid. Really glad to be back though.
Me too.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you give lessons?
Only if you practice. Shall we say Wednesday after school?
It's a date.